Pessoal, bom dia. Hoje nós estamos aqui com o Kyrre Franck, que é membro do Germanic for Bound e do The World Doom Project. Ele, inclusive, é membro da comunidade Sami, né? É um Sami, e vai nos contar um pouco sobre como é que esses aspectos, no caso, sobre os Sami, sobre como que funciona essa questão que envolve a cultura Sami, e também vamos ver algumas questões também que podem ser relacionadas a esse período, né, que os Samis também tinham contato um pouco com a questão da era Viking. Então, eu vou passar agora, né, a palavra para ele e a gente vai iniciar a entrevista. Mr. Kyrre, thank you so much for being here in the channel. It's a big pleasure. It's the first time that a member of the Sami community come to the channel, and this is a lot of important. And I would like to start to question you, who are the Sami? Who are these people that are in so many medias and like in the movies, in sometimes they are in series, but who are this culture that most people sometimes don't know? We only sometimes know about the Vikings, but sometimes we forget that have some communities in the history of the Scandinavian. And how are the Sams?
First of all, thank you for inviting me to do this interview. It's an honor to try to represent Sápmi. The Sami people is the indigenous people of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and the northern part of Russia. And there is 11 languages that consist of the Sami. So it's a diverse group, depending on the placement, and I'm from the North Sami region, or North Sami family.
Oh, that's very, very interesting that we know about how this community are very connected with the Scandinavian, because sometimes we don't know so much about them. We only see a little in sometimes in series and movies, and that's very, very interesting to know how they are in the Scandinavian and contribute to some parts of this culture in a total. And I would like to ask you how the Finn-Ugric language work. The Sams are part of the Finn-Ugric works, and how this is the language of the Sams works.
I kind of didn't understand the question. Can you repeat it?
Oh, how the language how the language of Sami community works? Because they are connected with the Finn-Ugric language.
Group, yes. I'm no expert in how it is connected, but there is a connection. There's no doubt about it. You can see, well, the closest relation is to the Finnish language. I've read theories that the Sami people learned, well, many years ago, like a Proto-Finnish language, and then it divided into Sami and Finnish of today. How long ago, I don't remember. I'm no expert in languages.
Oh, okay. No, that's okay. It's very, very interesting to know how the connections is have the language is a very, very interesting. And how can say about the religions visions of the Sami, how they have some aspects with the religions have some mythology involved by Sami, how this is work.
The today most Samis are of a Christian belief. But the old religion, which was eradicated or nearly eradicated in the 16th and 17th century, is called Noidevoda, which means the shamanism. You can kind of translate it to shamanism. And part of this survived in different traditions. Some of it was turned also into Christianity, so you can see traces of the Sami shamanism in some of the traditions. We have something which in English is called readers, which heals through reading Bible verses, and that is also a shamanic tradition, but it has transformed into Christianity.
Oh, that's interesting. I was thinking that some have some different religions to the Christians. For me, it's very very interesting to know that uh, that they are connected to the Christian world in nowadays. That's very very curiosity. And how is the significance of the colors of the Sami flag? They have a flag that have a very very colorful. How are these colors? Yeah, this.
Water, and the red color. The blue is of course the water. The green is the spring. Sun and moon is also in the flag, and red is the color of the Sami blood. So there's a lot of different interpretations. Also, it's a picture or a depiction of the four winds. So you have the directions in it: north, south, east, west.
Oh, that's very beautiful significance. Or some, I think the elements of the nature are present in the flag. It's very very beautiful to know that. And the clothes of the used by the sun have a specific significance. How are they made, and how these represent for the communities?
Yes, the Gakti. The Gakti is, or kofte in Norwegian. The Gakti has a very significant pattern and colors, and there's a lot of codes in those colors. For instance, my Gakti is from Onjarga, or the Norwegian name is Nesseby. So people can see what area you're from. They can often see if you are single or not. And the old Sami people who know the traditions, they can also see what family you are from due to some small difference in style.
Oh, that's very very cool. I think they are clothes very beautiful because they are very colorful and have details in some parts of this clothes, and that's very very interesting to see. And how some have some traditions related with the shamanic traditions. They are maintaining this nowadays, or it's not often.
It depends. Since the 1980s, Nuevo has had a revitalization, so it's slowly coming back, and it's slowly also accepted into the Sami society. Slowly, the drums are coming back. And there is well, this is a kind of a long story, but people had to stop practice Noidevoda in the open in the 16th and 17th century because they were killed, burned on the fire, and by the missionaries, and when the Sami people was Christianized, there was also a kind of damnation against people who practiced Noidevoda from the Sami society itself, and this kind of damnation is now slowly fading out and getting into acceptance. So there is revitalization going on within Vaidebuddha. And I think there is Shamanistisk Forbund, Shamanic Association of Norway, which is the one of the registered, and I know there is another belief society also being started, which is more because Shamanic Association is kind of a general building, and then it's, I think it's called Samisk Tro and Sami belief and tradition. The new society that are kind of registered in these days, and they are more specialized to the Sami, to Noida Buddha only.
That's very a very interesting point that you show us. We have a period that was in these moments that have these shamanic traditions, and in nowadays we have sometimes the connections with the Christian traditions. That's very a very perspective interesting that you show us. And I would like to know how can we describe the culinary of the Sami? Have some specific foods that some prepared? How is these work? How can I say that have some specific drinks or foods that they eat?
Yes, of course there is reindeer meat, and it is mostly boiled. The reindeer meat, so everything is boiled. When we eat reindeer, we eat all of the reindeer. So we use the blood, we use the intestines, we use everything that can be eaten for food, and we also use, of course, the skin for clothes. So we use every part of the reindeer. So the reindeer is very significant to the Sami. It's a sacred animal that was given to the Sami people by the daughter of the sun in the mythology. So that is in our belief that the reindeer is very sacred. There is lots of lore around the reindeer, so it's a big part of our world. The white reindeers are sacred also, but they belong to the Uldas, which is the what you can call the little people that lives under earth, kind of. Or it has the closest relation to Western lore, and it brings luck in if you have them in your flock. Other foods that are sacred to us is chaga. It's a mushroom that grows on the birch trees, and we use that in ceremonies, and we use it for health, and well, it's a big healer. I use a lot of chaga in my healing practice, and yeah. Berries are important. Alder, the tree alder is important, not so much in food, but in rituals. You can say today where we don't normally do blood sacrifices anymore, but the bark from the alder, when you mix it with spit, it becomes red. So it also dyes the drum, and you can use it instead of blood in offerings. So here's my drum, which is painted with alder.
Oh, that's very a very interesting thing. Oh, that's beautiful. It's very, very amazing. it was the next question that I made. It's about the some drums that have these specific figures and turning red. How is the significance of these figures and the about this drum? How this work this Sami drum?
Well, there are some regional differences, and that should also be said about Sami shamanism. That the Sami shamanism isn't uniform. It differs from area to area, and from also from family to family. But in general, you can say that the upper part of the drum, I guess you can show a picture of it, of a drum, when you edit. The upper part of the drum is what you can translate to the faraway world. It's where the gods resides. For instance, the gods that are further away, like the sun and Baby, which is one of the gods, Manu, the moon. In the middle part of the drum is our world's magical aspect, you can say, and the netherworld is the land of the dead, which is in general it's a mirror of this world. In our lore, and often you can also find the sun in the middle of the drum, where you can see kind of a cross, which symbolizes the sun god Baby, and it also signifies the four directions, and so on.
Oh, that is very surprising for me because I was that some of the figures are representing how can I say some rituals of the sun, and I was when I was see I think, oh, that's a men's and women's making some ritual in the drums, but that's very interesting to know that have some aspects of the um beliefs of in the some religious perspective, and that's very interesting
Yes.
to see.
Well, you have, of course, you have the different gods. You have different. The pattern on the drums also signifies uh, the ways to other worlds. It signifies for instance, the birds often represent Snoideloddi, or the shaman birds, which is kind of a vessel for travel in other worlds. So it represents also the helpers. There is,
That's
well, there is a lot of symbolism, and it takes time to read it, or to learn how to read it. Also, the drum can be used for divination,
mm,
especially with those drums. This is not this is not a divination drum. So there were drums like this also, which have different patterns on them. The skin on my drum is halibut, the fish. So this is the picture. This is the halibut, and then there's the boat that fished the halibut. So I fished together with a friend. I fished this halibut that the skin come from. So it's a depiction of that and the symbolism of that. And there is a lot of more symbolism also in this drum, even if the drawing is quite simple.
oh, but is very brief. I think it he's very interesting. Just a little boat and a fish, like representing fishing Probably, and that's a very very interesting to saw that, because I think the some drums are so beautiful, so diversified, and that's very very interesting to know about more. Then, and do you have a project called the World Drum Project? Can you explain about that? Because I think that's very very interesting project. And when I saw, I think, oh, that's amazing to saw that.
The roll drum came to me as a vision. After I was doing a drum circle, it came like a vision that there was to be built a drum that should walk from hand to hand and from land to land, to create uh, or to awaken people so they again can feel love to nature, and understand that they are a part of nature. We're not outside that circle. We are very much in that circle, and everything we do um, kind of ripples through the web of life.
Mm.
So that was the basis for that drum. And very early, it was initiated in front of the Norwegian Parliament in 2006. And very early in the project came Morten Storeide, which is the main caretaker of the drum. Since I have also the Shamanic Association, Morten has the day-to-day responsibility for the drum and how to coordinate tours and where it goes. So it has been traveling the world since 2006, up until the pandemic. So it's been in uh, between 850 and 900 places in the world, different destinations. Since that, well, there is lots of stories about the world drum. Uh, I kind of don't know which one to choose from. Um, but what neither me and Morton has seen is what kind of significance that drum would have, and it still amazes me today, where especially indigenous people who lost the drum, like the Sami people did, and well, there's especially one episode in the Canadian Parliament of was it culture, or I can't remember, but it was kind of a stately thing, where the drum visited. But there was an old indigenous woman there, and when she connected with the drum, she started to cry because she could still remember the drums from when she was young. Sorry, it touches me today as well. And so the significance of the drum is far beyond what we could imagine and understand. But visions often are like that.
Oh, that's a very beautiful project. I when I saw it's amazing. So that we have these connections with other peoples around the world, and many types of styles of drums, and not only the same drum, but we saw that many types of these instruments, and people that I think have a piece of a letter that they signed when
Yes.
past world, and many things that I was see that and see, oh, that's amazing. Persons are signed this piece of land, and it's
And it's been touched by touched and played by people from all walks of life, from homeless people, poor people, to presidents and uh, well, kind of high society people. Uh, so it kind of shows that well, to me, it kind of shows that in the end, what whoever you are, or whoever you have been, uh, we are humans all. We are part of that web of life.
that's very very amazing to know that it's a very different thing to explore. It's a project that it's a very curious for persons that like music and don't know so much about the use of these instruments for many communities. And I would like to know some point about the terms that used to refer about the Sami. Um, in the past, the Samis are called LAP, but this term was in disuse because of the not things that are good to refer them, not represent the Sam community. They are disused. Why
To,
not?
Today, it's a derogatory term. Yes, I think the reason why it's derogatory today, because before well, in the 16th and or 15th century, 16th century, it was not a derogatory term, uh, but uh, it was used when the government and the missionaries. You have to understand that the missionaries uh, were used as a tool to um, forcibly Northify the Sami people, and they uh, used Lap as a derogatory term, as in they are under humans or not worth the same as us. So that's the start, I believe, how it became a derogatory term.
That's it's very important to know that because people I think that don't know about that using sometimes to refer they are lab or there is the Laponia, the stage of they don't sometimes comprehend it. That's important that you explain why these are indices nowadays.
Hmm.
And for some parts we have how can I say, in 21st century, many representations of the Sami in the movies and in the series, in many medias. How did you see some of these representations of the Sami? We have uh, some appearances of the in the Viking series. We saw in the Frozen movie for the kids. We saw some in many years, but how this is the challenge of these representations in the 21st century?
It's good in a sense that it gets the message that there lives a people in the northern part of the world that are indigenous, and it brings it on the agenda. Some of the depictions in movies are uh, very wrong, and it kinds of brings forward the picture of the noble savage, as they depict Native Americans in the movies, or Inuits in some other movies. So um, it's a double-edged sword, but I would say, at least in Frost, did they did do a lot of research. So even if it's the narrative is adapted to film, it's kind of quite accurate, and there were Sami consultants that were listened to. So that's an improvement, at least. And there were also Sami musicians that had the music, and so it's as far as Frost it's well, Frost is a movie that is loosely based on the Sami. It's not a documentary about the Sami people, so you have to have some understanding also for that. Vikings, I didn't see the Sami part, so I can't say anything about it. But if you want to learn about the Samis in movies and and also in books, go to the Sami filmmakers. Look at their films. There is a big involvement in Sami films, especially in Norway, but also in Sweden and Finland. There is they have won several prizes and been nominated to several prizes. So it's a growing film, Sami film business, and they use the Sami lore from a Sami standpoint, Sami point of view.
That's a very interesting thing that you showed, because I was know that Netflix was producing a new film about based in a case that was occurred in the community Sami. I think the name is uh, what's I think is stolen the name of the movie, that was new movie that you released in this month, and they have some interesting in the Sami industry of movies. Netflix was in contact to produce with the people Sami, and they are to introduce new movies with the some directors of movies, and that's very interesting to see that in these days we are interested in put these people to talk about their history, not persons that don't are some and doing the history of the some, but some doing histories about the some histories, and that's very amazing to saw that the industry recognize the legitimacy of the Samish community. That's a very important thing, I think. And one of the most curious things that I saw is some accessories used by Sams, like some necklaces, some pendants. They have some significance that they are used. I saw some clothes used by the women that have some accessories in that use it with the clothes. Do you know about little that?
You mean the horned hat for women?
Yes, have the hat and have some how can I say, some plates things that use it here and in the how can I say?
Risco.
Oh,
It's called risco. You mean for the women or for the men? For the men, it's called rocket.
Yeah.
Yes, but for the women it's called risco. There is if it means that today, but you can often see that the Sami woman has three riscos, and in the old days it used to mean symbolic of the three worlds that they carry. Women carry the three worlds with them. Oh, there are so many significance. And depending on the rocket for men, they all often have pictures of gods or Sami symbols on them. Many use them today more as it's a nice thing. But for instance, on one of my cactus, I have the wind god, Yegolmai, or the windman. So it's a symbol that you carry something with you.
That's a very interesting thing. I was thinking that was only an accessory used for having the clothes to complement the clothes. But when you say that to me, I was very interested about that. I researched more because this is very interesting accessory used by the. It's very beautiful to saw. That's the clothes of some. I think it's an accessory that's very different that we saw in some clothes and around the world, but that's specifically is very interesting.
Yes, with risky, if people still remember it in general, I don't know, but in the old days it used to mean with the three worlds, and it also is a symbolism of that the women, which is the giver of life, is connected to both the ancestors in the world of the dead, which is the lower part of the drum, but that they are also connected to the gods, because it was a woman that gave the reindeer to the Sami. So the women are the giver of life in every context possible.
Oh, that's nice. And how we can say that have some how can I say have some laws or political perspectives to the sum that guarantee the how can I say um let me think about oh my god the name
Fosenjakke, you mean the wind?
the
Well,
rights for the Sami
yes,
that, that guarantee the rights.
and also in addition to that's what happened on the I want to take you back to the 70s and 80s, 1970s and 1980s, where the resurrection of Naidawood, the Sami shamanism, started, and this was in Alta, where they wanted to build a hydroelectric dam, and thus flooding large areas of grazing land, uh, and in the 70s and 80s, the resurrection of Nightwater was um, connected to kind of a eco activism also. So, and that brings us also today, because the government um, is taking and giving out reindeer grazing lands to wind farms, to mining companies. They are there is the biggest court in Norway, Høyesterett in Norwegian, the upper court has condemned Norway for breaches of human right in this, and there has been a lot of demonstrations, and there's been some about it in the media as well. This is our proud young women and men that are doing this protest. And now they are, and there is court hearing now where these youths are on trial for protesting against the human rights breaches. So it's kind of ironic that the Norwegian state is breaking fundamental human rights. And when you protest against it, you kind of risk going to jail. There isn't any results in this yet. We are still waiting for the result of the trials. But if these youths have to go to jail or are fined for protesting against human rights, it's kind of shows that how the situations for the indigenous people is in Norway, where the big states just can kind of just take the land, which are used by reindeer families for centuries. And there's a very much the same also in Finland and in Sweden, and of course we know that the Sami people in Russia are in real trouble. They are being discriminated a lot, and which also risk their life when they're protesting. There is a Sami from Russia that now has run to Norway because of he has been an activist and has been risking jail in Russia, jail time and also torture and I think so. He's in Norway now, or in the northern part of Sápmi.
Oh,
To us, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Russia, it's not. These borders are kind of artificial because we are one people, and well, one day some people came and draw some lines on the map, and our land was kind of divided. So there is we are still one people. So it's not just happening to in Norway or in Sweden. It is happening in Sápmi for us. So we kind of looks at it under one as one. And so the situation now for the Sami people, and especially the reindeer herders, who are the heroes of Sápmi because they are the last barrier from stopping the mining companies and stopping the windmill farms from taking over sacred land, sacred mountains. They are destroying heritage. There is a lot of remnants from old Sami living areas. So the situation is kind of dire, but it's the same situation that other indigenous peoples are experiencing very much, like in Standing Rock, which the World Drum has been also with the protest in Standing Rock. I remember when I started working with Standing Rock, because I was kind of working with activism here in Norway for Standing Rock. because there was a Norwegian bank invested in that. And I remember as soon as I saw it, I called Morten and said, we have to send the drum there. And he told me, well, I'm already on the case. So it's not the same thing. So yeah, the situation for the Samis is very dire. And there are so many things which are hard to understand to us, because on one hand, the Norwegian government has just and the king has said sorry to the Sami people, because we forced you to be Christian, we forced you to be Norwegian, we denied you your language, sent the children to boarding schools, things like that, which was a wanted politic from the Norwegian government. They wanted to eradicate Sami, um, and they sterilized a lot of the Samis, that were a lot of atrocities, and now they kind of says, we're sorry for this, but the atrocities are still happening today. So we're sorry, we wounded you in the 17th and 18th century, but we're not sorry for what's happening now. Oh, you are protesting against us breaking the law. Well, then you go to jail. It's well, to me, it's kind of unreal. What is happening, and at the same time, I know that this is also happening in other places in the world to indigenous people. And I mean, what can we do? We can protest, but there is nothing we can do. We are a minority, and they have. It seems like they are above the law. They are above what we they do not listen to us. They do not listen to the especially the youth, which is they should receive support and honor for what they are doing, and they also are from the Sami community very much. They do a tremendous job, and they are really relentless in their struggle.
Yeah, I think that's so sad to listen that, because it's a thing that I don't know how this can exist. This is so sad to see that they don't how can I say, respect the old traditions of many people like the Sami or other indigenous peoples. It's very sad to hear that, and see that the situation was so how can I say, it's a so bad thing to many communities of the Sami, and saw that in Russia that was a thing like that occurred too. Is so something very sad to know that. I have no idea that in Russia have a situation like that you described it. For me, it's a thing that I know only that in the interview, and it's very sad to know that.
But on the other hand, you do a lot of research about the Viking period, and back then the relation was quite good between the Sami and the Norse people and other people that are in this region. And there was a lot of trading and intermarriage, things like that. And we can also see that in the Norse shamanism, and in the Sami shamanism also, you can see that there has been some kind of contact there and exchange of lore and mythology.
Oh yes, it's a very interesting thing that you say. Have some points that are similar in these two process. I think that I saw um, much of that I was studying about the when I started to study the Viking Age was that this contact with the Sami, that was a very interesting thing with the contact with Legio's part with this interactive, because we only sometimes classify that Nordic is only the persons that was involved in the Viking Age activities, but we forget that the Sami are there and they are Nordic too, and that's one thing that is it's an incomprehensive thing that of studying this period.
I think it has been eradicated a lot from the history books also, but we know that the Sami people um, were, for instance, they were known for their boat building, uh, because they seamed the boat, to sew the boat together with sinew and fibers. So the boats was faster in the water, and the Norse people bought boats from them. And also on was it Iceland or no, Greenland? They have also found Sami, or remnants from Sami culture. So the Sami people were traveling together with Vikings, and also back then, well, let's say the 7, 8, 900s, also the pre Viking era. The Samis were very well known sorcerers. Uh, so the magic part was kind of significant also. So I think, well, this is a theory of mine, but I think that many of the Samis were traveling together with the Norse people, exploring the world, and they were sought after by the Norse because of their knowledge of magic. And for instance, what you called, what can you in English, you can, maybe you can call it weather bending, when you change the weather or you change the winds. Was a very big part of the Sami magic, that what the shamans, or the Nuaidis, what's they called, were known to do, to change the weather. And that, of course, is a very significant thing. If you're sailing at sea, you have something who can talk to the weather.
Oh, that's that's a very very interesting thing that you say about these contacts and with this influence of the Sami in the Viking world process of the culture. It's very interesting because we saw some archaeological pieces that are Sami, but they are found with in some place that have this Viking ages process, and that's very interesting thing to analyze. And about music in the Sami perspective, how is the music in the Sami's community? How this is made this music?
Well, you have the yoik, and yoik is the oldest tradition in Europe, oldest musical tradition in Europe. And yoik is kind of a chant. So it is, when you yoik something, for instance, the wind, It's not a song about the wind. It is the wind in itself. So it's a very spiritual tradition, and uh, today there are uh, what's mostly known and practiced today is the name yoiks, or a person yoik, where you yoik a person. But the spiritual practice also includes that you yoik landscapes, you yoik rivers, you yoik mountains. We have the Bassivari, which is the sacred mountains. So you yoik them, and um, you can yoik the animals. You can. So it's a kind of a storytelling, and especially in the spiritual kind of yoke, there is very seldom words. It's mostly uh, what you can call chanting, but the chanting uh, represents the thing. So, for instance, there is a glass of water. If I was to yoik this glass of water, it will follow the shape. So it's like a
That's a very, very, very incredible. I watching sometimes some videos in YouTube about the music in many periods, and when I saw the music in the song, I was thinking, oh, that's very, very interesting and very, very nice sound. It's I love sounds that are of many cultures that are very traditional, and that I think the some music was very, very, very interesting. And just for finish, if you would like to present some song, if you would like to sing, you can feel free to show us a little, if you like.
I was thinking, um, I always try to do these things with the purpose, and so instead of just drumming and singing, I want to take you and the audience, the people watching, on a mini ritual. I don't know if it works through the camera, but we can try. And in old Sami lore, the dead, the people who has passed on. Uh, it can be an animal, of course. It can be a grandfather or grandmother. We have the lava. It's kind of looks like a teepee. It's similar, and up in the opening where the smoke comes out, that is where the ancestors and the family that's passed on are staying when they are here. And they can of course not, because they have no physical body, they cannot eat or drink or smoke uh, anymore. But if we put things in the fire, for instance, when I usually I have a friend that died many years ago, and he was very fond of a special type of chocolate. So when I do this ritual, and it's a very simple ritual, I give him that chocolate and maybe a small dram of liquor, because he liked alcohol also. So I want you to imagine that you are sitting in a teepee, and in front of you there is the fire, and you feel free if you want to close your eyes. And the first sound you hear when you are in your mother's womb is the heartbeat.
Uh, sorry. The sound is not is can't the sound
Oh,
is
it's
not.
distorted. Is it
Yes.
distorted or did you hear it?
I can hear it. The sound of the I think have to.
You couldn't hear it?
It's not the sound is not. mm, The sound is not here.
It's
Um,
strange. Maybe there is some.
I think have to in the configurations. I think ah, you have to hear in the part of the can I say
Yeah, the
here
noise reduction.
in configurations.
Yes,
You
there
see,
is also noise reduction thing there on.
uh,
Do you still hear me?
mm,
Do you hear me now?
yeah, but just for
Yeah, because I took away the noise reduction. There was some.
okay,
So maybe.
yes, now
Okay.
perfect.
So let's start again. So the first sound that you hear when you are in your mother's womb is the heartbeat. And you can close your eyes if you want. This heartbeat is with us all the way. From we are born to the day we passed on. So if you think of a person or several persons, or animals, pets that has passed on, what did they like to eat, drink, or smoke? Imagine they are sitting up in the smoke ring above you, and you can bring into the fire what they most like to eat or drink. So it's time to say goodbye for this time to your loved ones. But know that you can always come back to this place when you want to. And you can also do this ritual whenever you have a fire in front of you. You can just imagine the lava or the teepee. Good morning.
Wow, that's amazing. That's very, very nice sound. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's have a good energy. I love to listen. To that. Thank you so much for doing this interview, Miss Kira. It's a pleasure to receiving you and listen this beautiful song in the end. Thank you for explaining about the sound culture. I think have a lot of persons in the channel that will be interested in discover much more about the Sami. Um, I know that the name of the channel is the Viking World, but I like to work with people that was related with the period or persons that have these connections with the Viking world, like the Sami, like sometimes the past of the Germanic past. And it was a very, very pleasure receiving you in this channel and talk about more about this culture.
From my heart to yours, thank you for having me.
Okay, I just stopped the recording